Hello, welcome to my very rapid fire WrestleMania and NXT preview. So I thought I would just jump on and basically have a quick chat while I'm in my hotel room. So apologies, the lighting is pretty awful, but I'm just having to share this on some different channels. And I hope everyone's well today because I realise I can't seem to get over the time difference. There seems to be just some sort of like haze that I can't seem to grasp the 7-hour time difference. But anyway, if you are joining me, hello, nice to see you. I hope you're enjoying your Friday evening. It's currently 11 o'clock in the morning in LA. As you can see, the sunlight is coming through, some lovely LA sunshine going on. But yeah, I thought it would be good just to kind of jump on and run down the cards for NXT tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening. It's a very nice time for UK viewers. So if you do have any predictions as I'm going through this, I'd love to hear from you. But yeah, we're going to cover NXT first, and then we're going to quickly go through the WrestleMania cards as well, now that they've been confirmed as to which nights are which. So getting very excited now. There's a lot of wrestling fans kicking around in LA, so I'm sure everyone's having a great time doing whatever they can around LA. It's beautiful weather now. It has been raining, which I've been told by some of the locals is very unusual, but they have had some pretty heavy rain over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, interesting times. But without further ado, because I'm going to keep this really brief, so you can enjoy your Friday evening. But as I say, let me know. Feel free to add some comments in and let me know what your predictions are going to be as well. So we're going to start with the NXT side of things. So for NXT, the Stand and Deliver card is looking in great shape. There are 8 matches in total, I believe, and there's kind of there are stories behind each of them. So we've got the likes of, I was going to kind of say quickly who I think is going to win, and then spend a little bit more time when it comes to some of the bigger matches. So there's Andre Chase, Duke Hudson, Thea Hale and Tyler Bate facing off against the Schism for control of Chase University. It's not exactly one that I think a lot of people are kind of looking forward to in the grand scheme of things, but it does bring a nice close to the end of what's been an elongated rivalry. So with this one here, there's 2 ways they could go. They could, for the kind of, I guess, creative storylines, give it to the Schism. It would be interesting to see the other guys have to kind of fall in line with their radical beliefs. But then again, you've also got Tyler Bate randomly thrown in here. So don't discount Tyler Bate picking up a victory and then him doing his own thing from there. So I'm going to go with Tyler Bate and Chase U on this one. But it'd be interesting to see as well that we're going to get to see The Rock's daughter in the kind of big match as well. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of talk about that and whether he'll actually be in the area. He posted a video out yesterday, or a photo yesterday saying he was leaving LA, kind of have LA in the background. So yeah, interesting to see if he'll be there or not. Moving quickly on, we have got Gallus versus the Creed brothers versus the family. Which is the Don. So yeah, this is a triple threat match for the NXT tag team titles. I would be surprised if we don't see a Gallus retention. We might even see Joe Coffey join up with Mark Coffey as he's not been around, but I know there's been some issues with that as well, so it'd be interesting to see if he does get involved or if they'll just leave it as the 2 of them. We actually saw Wolfgang last night kicking around in the Rainbow Room just before we went off to Whiskey A Go-Go, so he's out and about. So I'm going to go with Gallus to retain here, but I think it'll be a good match. Be interested to see how the Creed brothers get on, as they've kind of been struggling a little bit lately to get traction after being on fire last year. We've got Fallon Henley and Kiana James are defending their NXT Women's Tag Team titles against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. The story going into this one is that there's obviously I don't even know whether you call it a love triangle, a love square, a love octangle. There seems to be that many people involved, or octagonal. So I would be surprised if there's not some sort of reveal as to who the mystery man has been, and that would allow Alba Fire and Isla Dawn to swoop in and get it, because they have been kind of pushing those recently as well. So it'd be interesting to see if they give the Scottish girls a bit of a push. We've got a ladder match to determine the NXT Women's Championship. So obviously the big story here is that Roxanne Perez was stripped of her title, and now she's back again and kind of pleaded a case with Shawn Michaels and is back in this ladder match. So they're keeping this one quite close to the chest in terms of exactly what the issue was with Roxanne Perez, physical, mental, etc. But either way, it's glad to see it's resolved and she is back in this match. So it wouldn't be a big shock to see her retain. Or if they already had decided they want to kind of go in a different way, and maybe this plays into a bigger story that we just don't know yet, and they give it to one of the other contenders. I'd like to see Gigi Dolan get it, but that would probably introduce that title into the rivalry going on with JC Jane. Since Toxic Attraction broke up. So it'd be interesting to see if that's a different direction that they want to head with it, or maybe they go completely different and they give someone else a completely new chance as well. But I'm going to go with it's going to be a Roxanne Perez retention / regain, whatever they're going to call it on that one. We've got a Wesley is going to defend the North American title in a fatal 5-way match, which I think is actually one of the best matches on the entire weekend. I'm really looking forward to this one. They've got some really exciting people like JD McDonough, Ilya Dragunov is on there, Axiom, and Dragon Lee is making his first appearance for NXT, and there's big things touted for him. I wouldn't be surprised if Wesley drops the title here. So with that being said, I would probably go with it being a Dragon Lee victory, just to give him a super push straight out the gate. And yeah, I think we could see an absolute banger. It wouldn't surprise me to see this one open in the same vein as NXT TakeOver in New Orleans. That started very hot with the North American title ladder match as well. One to this day that I still maintain is one of the best matches that they've ever had. So let me know if you guys are looking forward to that one in particular. We've also got the main event. Before we go to the main event, we've got Johnny Gargano and Grayson Waller battling out in a unsanctioned match. So this has come about obviously since Johnny wants his kind of like last moment in NXT. So with that being said, he's got the likes of Grayson Waller is trying to make a name for himself. I thought this has been a very well done rivalry in the sense that they were kind of hinting that it might be a Shawn Michaels match. Obviously, that wasn't to be. Shawn Michaels introducing Johnny Wrestling coming out. So this will be a great match. There's a few quite close similarities between NXT TakeOver in New Orleans and this one. Obviously, he had that match against Ciampa. This time, obviously, he's just kind of coming back for retribution for spoiling his going away party when he originally left NXT and was out for quite a few months before moving to the main roster. So I'm really hoping this is a good send-off for Johnny. They normally let the kind of NXT person who's kind of superstar who's trying to make a name for himself get the victory, but still make the NXT veteran look strong. So this could go either way. I think Johnny actually needs a win to get some traction and maybe get some eyes and talk about that on the Raw following. But there's a few different reasons as to why I think he needs a win more here. So I'm going to go with Johnny Gargano to win this one, which brings us to the main event of NXT, which is Bron Breakker versus Carmelo Hayes. This is a match that's been long in the offing, and I've covered this particular match and a few of the other matches over on rushonrock.com. I'll post a link to that straight away. Let me just grab that for you. So anyone really should be quite excited about this one. These are the potential to the future of the WWE in general. So don't be surprised to see them get a lot of time to put together something. There we go. That's posted. So yeah, if you're looking to see who in the next few years' time might be in and around the main event scene of WWE and WrestleMania, look no further than these two guys. These two guys are exceptional in the ring. I'd say Bron Breakker is getting a little bit stronger in terms of getting a personality and coming through on the mic. But Carmelo Hayes, I think he's going to be something massive for WWE. He's great on the mic. He's got the look. He's got that kind of it factor, and he's just slick in the ring as well. So it'll be interesting to see how their kind of styles mesh, as this is the first time that these two have been, have been pushed together. And they made a big deal about that as well, saying that we knew this day was coming and this is the kind of culmination of that. And I 100% expect Carmelo Hayes to be going over here and Bron Breakker shortly to move up to the to Raw or SmackDown, possibly even as early as Monday night. I have a bit of a theory that will come into that later on. So that covers off NXT. Let me know what you think if you're watching this back in the next kind of day or so before NXT. It'd be interesting to hear what you think, or even see how close my predictions were after the fact. So nice start time. You can watch NXT on the network tomorrow night. I believe it's at 6 o'clock UK time. So perfect kind of dinner time viewing. There's some great matches on there. Don't miss a single one of those matches. I think they'll all be fantastic. So what else have we got? We've got WrestleMania weekend, which is obviously why we're here. So I'll just put that up so you don't have to just stare at my face. But yeah, it's going to be a great, just 2 nights of action. They posted out yesterday, I believe it was, what's going on night 1 and night 2. So plenty of, I'm going to put some background music on just so there's like a little bit of something going on in the background. So it's not just my voice. Just bear with me, guys. I don't know what this music is. It's just part of the settings. Called Daydreaming, which is kind of like, a bit apt, I guess, for LA. So here we are. Let me just make sure that's on the right setting for you. It sounds not too bad for anyone. But anyway, WrestleMania. So when we're looking at WrestleMania, obviously we'll kind of go through it, gearing towards the main event, which we've got some thoughts on. But it looks like we're kicking off night 1 is supposed to be for the United States title, a returning John Cena trying to teach Austin Theory, the champion, a lesson in terms of making the audience care. So with John Cena coming back, it's an interesting one because I would have originally had Theory to keep the belt, but with this being on first, it seems to suggest that they were going to have a big kind of hot start to WrestleMania weekend. So I changed my mind. I think I'm going to go John Cena to win, and then that will eventually lead through into an open challenge either on the Sunday or potentially on the Monday after Raw, with a chance to introduce someone. If Cena is to win and it's a challenge tomorrow, don't be surprised to see someone like LA Knight or Bobby Lashley or maybe a combination. If it's on Monday, I wouldn't be surprised to see that's the way they introduce the wider audience to Bron Breakker. If he was to lose the title, it gives him a chance to get a shot, almost like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens did back when they first debuted as well. So I think John Cena is going to win here and quickly put the US title up as an open challenge at some point over the next couple of days afterwards. We also have there's the men's showcase match, which is a tag match. I think this is a great way to kind of showcase some people that wouldn't necessarily be on the card, but it's a shame that some of them, for example, Street Profits, I think have been doing some great work. So I would have liked to have seen the Street Profits feature a little bit more heavily somewhere else, but with the tag titles being firmly locked down under Bloodline, and they're obviously facing off against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, there's just no way to kind of introduce that. What might be nice is if they introduced it as almost the winner here gets a number 1 contenders match, or is the number 1 contender moving forward. So they get an opportunity. Whoever wins would be a great shout to just put a little bit of jeopardy behind it. Otherwise, it's kind of just literally an exhibition match, and people can kind of see through it as to what it is, and it's a chance to get more people on the card. Obviously, you've got the likes of the Viking Raiders, who have been kind of like getting a little bit stronger in recent weeks. So it'd be interesting to see if they continue that momentum. But for this one, I think I'm going to go with probably Braun Strowman and Ricochet to win. Those guys have been kind of getting a bit more momentum recently as well, but I think it will be a close fought battle. I would like to see the Street Profits win because I've got a lot of time for both of them, but this could be the start of Montez Ford pushing forward in a singles career as well. Elsewhere, we've got Seth freaking Rollins versus Logan Paul. I've said widely for this one that I expect these two to put on an absolute banger. I think this could be the kind of the match of at least night one, if not the weekend, for the main roster. There looks like there's some special things planned for Logan Paul's entrance to make him look even more of a superstar. It's widely been reported that his contract is up, as he's described it as his rookie year. So he's got nothing left to hold back. So I guess if he's going to re-sign, then great. He's got to go earn that by putting in a huge showing at WrestleMania again. He's put on some great matches, in particular against Roman Reigns. So he's shown, no matter what you think of him as a person, in the ring he can go, and he's a very talented guy inside those ropes. So fair play to Logan Paul. But here, Seth Rollins has kind of built this whole story that he needs to win, otherwise he'll feel like he's been embarrassed by losing to someone like an outsider like Logan Paul. But both guys are absolutely incredible in the ring. I think Seth Rollins can make Logan Paul look even better than he has in the past. But I think in terms of a story, it certainly for me feels like Logan Paul is probably going to win this one, especially if he is to have any more matches in the future. They'd probably want to sweeten the deal and make sure he is, but it's whether Seth Rollins is willing to kind of take that. But outside of WrestleMania, it'd be interesting to see if a loss would proper mess with Seth's psyche. So I think that's quite an interesting story. Obviously gives any feuds he has in the future, saying you lost to Logan Paul, so how good can you be? Also, quite frankly, if Logan loses, it kind of proves that he just can't hang with the kind of top echelon. So it'd be interesting to see. So I'm going to go with Logan Paul, shockingly, to win that one. On the rest of the card, we've got the SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair is facing off against Rhea Ripley in a match that has in some quarters been said that it will headline. I personally don't believe that this will close night one. I think that will belong to the tag team match between the Usos, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. But they have done a slightly better job at raising the profile of the Charlotte versus Rhea match. I think they maybe have been guilty of overbooking a little bit. Fans haven't really been able to get behind Rhea's push because she's kind of been stuck with Judgment Day, with Dom, kind of messing around on social media. And then Charlotte's not really been kind of facing off too much. She's cut a couple of decent promos recently, but it wasn't until last week or the week before where we actually saw a brawl break out. So I am expecting to see a little bit more from those two tonight. But I think here it's time for Rhea Ripley to complete all of the belts. This will be her final one that she needs. She's almost like the Thanos of WWE, collecting everything. So if she was to win this, it means she's probably one of the only women in history who's been able to win everything from the NXT UK Championship to NXT all the way through with tag team titles. I think the only thing it might leave is the NXT women's tag team titles, but whether she kind of counts that in or not, and I'm sure there's still time if she were to kind of want that in the future to kind of go back to the Performance Center and go capture them as well. But I firmly expect Charlotte to win. For Rhea to win. Quite where that leaves Charlotte, I'm not too sure. But it's certainly time to freshen up SmackDown in the women's division. It needs a little bit of a push, and I think having Rhea carry that belt would do that and a lot more. It'd be interesting to see if Dom's is going to be involved here or not. His match, I believe, is on night 2. So yeah, be interested to see if Dom plays the kind of male manager heel here and gets involved. But I definitely see Rhea going over. So elsewhere, as I said, for me the main event is going to be the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. The reason why I think it's going to be the main event to start with, quite frankly, those guys between the 4 of them, or include Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, no one else is featured really in the main event scene. So when you look at SmackDown and Raw, Charlotte and Rhea have been tucked very neatly into the mid card, into the middle hour, whereas those guys open and close and open and close. So it'd be very difficult to make a case where that's been happening and then all of a sudden they give it elsewhere. They deserve it 100%. I think it's great for the tag division in particular to be able to have a match in the main event of one of the nights, and it's even more so for the Usos, who, let's face it, over the years have struggled to get on the card at all or been stuck on the pre-show. So great for them to see their reward for just some great performances over the years. And then we moved to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, who Sami Zayn in particular has been on fire for the last few months. And he deservedly needs the biggest showcase for that, and quite deservedly should go on last on night one. I do think they'll win. I think this is the beginning of the end. I don't see how they can justify keeping the belts on the Usos and Roman both moving forward. I think they need to break up the kind of like the duopoly, as I've said, over on RussianRock.com. And I do go into a little bit of detail of who could benefit from that. The likes of maybe a DIY reunion or the likes of Street Profits. If they're going to move one of the belts outside of the bloodline, at least needs to happen. So yeah, I'll be an advocate for the title changing hands, and then eventually one of the sets being dropped back onto its respective brand, either Raw or SmackDown. So yeah, definitely think Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are winning here. I think it'll be a fantastic match. All four guys have proven time and time again. There's so much story behind this. And they're all very, very good in the ring as well. So expect an emotional moment at the end of night one with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens holding their titles aloft. I think I've covered everything on night one, but that will soon become apparent if I kind of come across something here. On night two, we've also got the women's WrestleMania showcase match. This is probably one that I'm least on the card looking forward to. It just doesn't kind of do much for me. They've have cobbled together some different teams, and it feels all just to give Ronda and Shayna a win through, basically. I wouldn't be against someone like Chelsea Green getting a win, just to kind of give like a bit of a comedic moment. I think she's been doing some great character work with her sort of Karen gimmick that she's using. I think that's going really well for her, especially like making it a little bit more memorable than it was on her first run before she was released. So I would prefer to see them win. However, let's face it, I can completely see Ronda claiming the victory here. Sticking with the women, we've got the Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch are all teaming up versus Damage Control in a 6-woman tag match. I'm just very glad that this is going to come to an end, because quite frankly it's been rumbling on way too long between Becky and Bayley. This goes like quite far back in terms of, I think Damage Control as a team turned back up at the end of SummerSlam after Becky and Bianca Belair had their match. So yeah, definitely time for it to end. Very much excited for to see where this goes afterwards. Heavy rumours of Trish Stratus turning heel, so it'd be interesting to see if there's some hijinks here, which then leads to Trish going off and fighting Becky. But obviously there's still the women's tag team titles around Lita and Becky's waist, so it would be interesting to see how they go around that. So let's see moving forward if there's any kind of shenanigans with Trish, and if she turns heel moving forward and potentially ending in a SummerSlam match against Becky would be cool. So I think it's really, you want Damage Control to win here. If Damage Control is to win, then it means that we would get a little bit of heat behind them. I think it's about time that Dakota Kai and Io Sky go their separate ways and do their own things. They're very, very talented. I can see Io Sky challenge for the title sooner rather than later, because that's moving me nicely onto the Raw Women's Championship match between Bianca Belair versus Asuka. I think Bianca's basically is becoming a little bit too stale. Her character needs a little bit of a refresh, whether that's going heel or something. Maybe a little bit of time away would do her quite well. She's been a great champion, but unfortunately, I don't think she's had too many people who can kind of be a dance partner. I think she had a great program against Becky last year, and then anything else has really kind of paled in comparison since. So I think Asuka will probably win here, which would nicely set up in the future an Asuka versus Io Sky match, which I would love to see. Let me know in the comments if you would. Please also like and share this video, whether you're watching it live, whether you're watching it in the future. Follow the channel and all that good stuff as well. So yeah, I could see Asuka winning that. And then we move on to what else have we got going on? The IC title, the Intercontinental title, triple threat match between Gunther, Drew McIntyre, and Sheamus. I was a little bit disappointed not to see the likes of LA Knight on this particular match. I think there's still probably promise for him to get some sort of appearance in there. But this is a good consolation prize anyway. So for this triple threat match, I think we're going to just see a bit of a kind of like layered on version of the Clash at the Castle match between Gunther and Sheamus. But I can see the way this has been kind of laid out that maybe Gunther is going to drop the title here, but not be involved in the finish, keeping him quite strong moving away from the Intercontinental Championship. But this kind of program can basically rumble through with some sort of combination of the three of them until we get to London and Money in the Bank in the one, I think it's on the 1st of July, which would be a nice kind of like home match for the likes of Drew McIntyre or European side of things for Gunther and Sheamus. So whether they go with Sheamus and it gives him his like full collection that he's been chasing, or maybe they go with Drew McIntyre instead. So it'll be interesting to see who they go with. I don't really see an outright winner, but for this one, I'm going to say that Drew McIntyre is going to turn heel and claim the IC title moving forward. We've got the return of the OG Hell in a Cell between Edge and Finn Balor, which is likely to be the Demon Finn Balor, which would be an interesting little twist because we haven't seen him since the top rope fiasco against Roman Reigns, which was never really explained. And it kind of maybe did a little bit of damage to that character, which has been a good thing to keep it away this long, especially with someone like Edge now calling him out to bring that particular demon out. So I think this would be a great match. I really do. I think Edge knows he's on the kind of back nine. Whether we see him kind of go out before WrestleMania next year or maybe even at WrestleMania 40, I can't see him going on too much longer. He's doing great things in his acting career, so I would fully expect to see Edge and Finn Balor put on a showcase here. I'm hoping they do some big spots, but fully appreciate that both guys are getting on a bit, so they've got nothing to prove. So I'm not expecting any tumbles off the top of the cell, but it'd be cool to see Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania, especially with it being back to the kind of like silver normal color rather than the garish red that they've been in previous years, or recent years, I should say. I think Finn Balor will go over. It makes more sense for Finn to get the win moving forward, make him look strong, potentially leading up to some sort of match against maybe Cody Rhodes if he were to win the titles. So I think Finn Balor with this one. Brock Lesnar versus Omos, I think when it was originally announced was ridiculed. Not a lot of people looking forward to that particular match. So I think they've done a very good job of building this up into some sort of showcase match. I think the sort of weigh-in stuff normally doesn't work, but having those guys, Brock's sold very well to make Omos look strong. But this still feels to me like it's all kind of gearing towards just making sure that Brock Lesnar looks amazing when he eventually F5s or suplexes Omos repeatedly around the ring. Omos isn't going to lose any face by losing to Brock Lesnar. Over the years, many people have lost to Brock Lesnar, and they still can look strong in the future. I fully expect that to be the case here too. So I'm going to go with Brock Lesnar to win that one. And then I believe that's Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio. Probably the hottest angle outside of any of the Bloodline feuds at the moment. So I think this could be a magical WrestleMania moment for both guys, purely on the basis that I'm sure as a father and son outside the ring, they've been practicing this. And let's face it, this would be like Ray's absolute dream match in terms of like going in against, like facing off against his son, sharing the ring with his son that's been around like the industry and learning his trade, seeing him potentially pick up the baton and going with it in his own way. The character work by Dom, I'd argue, has been the most improved I can remember, especially in recent history in wrestling. So this could just be a great moment. I'm sure the crowd will get into it. They've got one last big chance to put even more fire behind this when Ray picks up his Hall of Fame induction tonight. I expect there to be some sort of angle run before or after, possibly after, to kind of like not mess with the I don't know, it's a sacred ground, isn't it? Really, as much as possible, Hall of Fame. So maybe do something afterwards. So after the cameras stop rolling, it gives the people that have stayed something to go off of and get a bit of reaction that they can move forward with on social medias and stuff like that over the weekend, just to really build this up. But I think it'll be a great match. I think Ray's going to win here, and maybe Dominic will carry on trying to be a thorn in his side. Eventually can lead to something bigger, I guess, some sort of stipulation match, which we possibly expected, like a hair versus mask match, etc. Which brings us to the last match, the main event. The undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns faces off against Cody Rhodes, the winner of the Royal Rumble 2023. To keep this short and to the point, because we'll probably talk about it for quite a long time, you've got possibly the most dominant modern day champion in Roman Reigns facing off against one of the hottest returnees in Cody Rhodes. I think it's time for a new champion. I definitely think it's time to split the belts up and give more opportunities elsewhere. And I think the only way they can really do that is with Cody winning. The only thing that kind of plays in the back of the mind is Roman being very close to 1,000 days as a champion, having that Universal Championship for. I've said a few times on different shows, I think Cody wins, but potentially the next night on Raw, that Roman's advocate Paul Heyman has some sort of legal hijinks and says actually the Rumble winner only gets a shot at one of the titles, so you only get the WWE title. Roman continues his reign through and reaches that 1,000 days mark, and then someone can cash in and let Roman go do his Hollywood stuff or have a break, as I know he's it's very well reported that he wants a bit of a break now to explore other avenues. He's been a great champion. Cody Rhodes' story is just beginning back in WWE. I think winning the belt wouldn't be the end of that story. He has kind of said finish the story, but doing that, I think, opens up some dream matches, the likes of Cody Rhodes versus Edge, Cody Rhodes versus Finn Balor. They can even continue with the ones against Seth Rollins. You've got the likes of Bobby Lashley still kicking around, wanting it, all the way through to people like Brock Lesnar, any kind of returning guys, or Gunther eventually making a title tilt for that Universal title. So there's so many matches that are unlocked by having Cody Rhodes win. Whereas, where did the company really go if Roman retains in terms of anyone challenging? Because there's just, quite frankly, no one realistic to do that. So I do think when all said and done, on Sunday night inside SoFi Stadium, we will see Cody Rhodes surrounded by confetti as the winner of the championship. Whether that sticks or not for too long, we'll find out. But that brings us to the end. I know it's been very quick. Hopefully I haven't spoken too quickly for you all. If you do get a chance, please like, subscribe and follow the channel. I'm also on Twitter. You find me at Sporsy19. So please feel free to follow me on there. I'll be trying to put some different posts out while I'm actually in SoFi Stadium, if possible, because let's face it, we don't know what the internet's going to be like when we're there. But for now, I just want to say thank you for joining. This has been Wrestling Royalty. I've been Andy, and looking forward to WrestleMania weekend.